All right, welcome back to episode 89 of The Bench, where, Squishy, this week, I don't know if you saw the comments on last week's video, but we had been doing the long-running bit of leaving you as a still image and then pretending that you were there. And then we did the opposite of the bit, where we listened to the comment section and didn't do that ongoing bit. And then the comment section got mad at us for not doing that bit, and now...
Oh, it's a good bit.
But now you're back. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm back. Things are good. We have content coming soon, and I chose a week to cut caffeine. So, it's a thing.
Oh, well,
wow, that's crazy.
You're cutting caffeine.
I've actually been slamming caffeine lately.
Hold on 1 second. I have a pallet of Monster. Do you want some caffeine?
Oh, boy.
I'm on day 7 of no caffeine. Drinking just a fuck ton of water and some Gatorade Zero after my workouts.
Yeah, I don't drink that much caffeine, but then I go to the race world first and I drink 3 Monsters a day till my skin feels like it's gonna crawl. So I'm ready for some caffeine.
Nice.
Yeah, I just chain drank coffees last night and didn't sleep. So
wait, you
it's
haven't
kind of like
slept?
taking off of caffeine. No.
We were playing Codenames at 1 a.m. and you haven't slept. Wait, what?
Yeah, well, I was working on some stuff, and then yeah, we have a long ways too, because we got this, and then I have to raid hardcore, and then I have to do an M0 swoop, and then I have to level Valera, and then I have to level my delves. It's gonna be a long one.
Do you just tell us your tip at this point?
Oh yeah, sure. I got some cool stuff that we've seen this week. So there's a really fast way of getting Valera rep in case you, for some reason, care about getting, what's that guy's name? Nautilus? Nautilus? Something like that. If you care about getting the Delve Hall of Fame, in theory, you might want Valera reputation, or Nautilus is going to be easy, and then you didn't care about Valera reputation, or Nautilus is going to be impossible, in which case you also didn't care about Valera reputation. Oh, I'm showing the wrong screen. Hold on 1 moment. But in theory, there is a delve that is in Herondar called the Grudge Pit, and basically the TLDR on the Grudge Pit is that you just click these curios that are off to the side pretty much everywhere, and then you get infinite amounts of Valera reputation just on CD, and so that it just makes it the easiest farm in the game by a lot.
This has to be the worst farm of all time. At least with Islands, you were kind of doing something. This is freaking awful.
Why?
Right?
I mean, we needed to farm some dirt. It's been too clean of an expansion launch.
So what makes you say it's awful? So yeah, you can see it on screen now. You're basically just clicking these curios.
20-second runs and just clicking things.
Yeah.
You're just running around. Also, why are you not doing travel form? What is wrong with
you? You can't do travel form because you come out of the delve, and then it swaps you into flight form, and then you zone into the delve, and then you're still in flight form. No, it doesn't. What? It was definitely fucking me up. But
I literally didn't either. You just stay in travel form the entire time.
All right. Well, you got to stealth at some point, anyways. But yeah, I've watched a lot of Theory-Wise videos recently, and I mean, these are kind of similar things that happen in OSRS, and I mean, that guy is really high on OSRS, so I feel like this is where World of Warcraft should be going, according to that guy.
Holy moly, shout out to Theory-Wise. He's been, he's like a RuneScape stan YouTuber guy that me and Tunnels have been watching that has these little its and bits of truth in his video and then goes off the rails in a hilarious manner, and every bit of his content's good. Unfortunately, I don't play RuneScape, so it's hard for me to... Oh, it's so good.
Good for watching.
It got you to rage quit 15 minutes into the first video.
Wish you watched half of the video on my stream too and was not happy about it and turned my stream off.
I sure did.
Yeah. That guy's he's got some interesting takes. I mean, there's definitely some truth in some of the stuff that he says, and then I just get rage baited, and I'm just like, dude, you came to this conclusion for the wrong reasons, and you're making me mad.
No, man, he's based. Shout out to Theory-Wise. He would be a great pod guest.
Holy shit. But yeah, there's a Valera rep exploit. Why did you say that this is worse than dirt farming or anything?
Okay, well, before you said that, you said exploit.
Oh,
do you actually think this is an exploit?
Oh no, I don't think I said this. I didn't mean this is an exploit. I might have misspoke. It's
all the same for us.
It's tech, I would say, more than anything else. It's just stupid.
Yeah, this is absolutely an oversight. That they decided to put 4 curios at the start that you don't even need to do anything to get.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's fine. I'll be honest, I don't know how much it's gonna matter, but people yearn for the mines, and this is the one we almost made it the entire preseason without a dirt or a wax. Now we have the curio for this expansion.
I guess I'll just rip one of our Q&A questions right now. It says, we've gone 2 expansion launches in a row now with 0 repeatable renown or rep grinds, and this feels really weird to me. Dragonflight has us doing Maruk Centaur hunts, Cobalt Assembly, Rathian Sibelian rep, etc., which combined with hunting super rares for gears seemed to really fill the 2-week launch period. Now everything feels weekly or one-time rep gains, then everybody logs off once they finish their Lurius checklist. Any theories as to why these seem to have disappeared? Any thoughts on how this affects the launch, quote, hype period? End quote.
Okay. There's a perfect example. Have you seen the Abundance drama?
I saw that abundances got
it on Reddit,
changed, but I don't really understand what abundances are. I normally just AFK them, but I don't really get it.
All right, so here's the TLDR is the abundance is that, there's that Loa dude who yells at you the entire time.
Yeah.
But you can go into his activity and you get a currency. The currency is used for epic profession tools. So if you're a crafter, you need to do that.
Okay.
You can get so in order to get that currency, you need to do an empowered run. And in order to do an empowered run, you need the some currency. It's like Dundun's crystal or something like that. You only get a maximum of 8 per week. You're hard capped. You can also only hold 8, meaning, every week you need to do 8 of these abundance runs, which are a chore because they take 3 minutes each, meaning 25 minutes or so.
Oh no, not 25 minutes.
I know. But because of this, people are so mad. So mad. Every week I have to spend 30 minutes doing abundance. And if you have a lot of crafting also, you do have to do it. You want to do it on every character. That's going to start adding up. And so they moved away from like the whole Torghast feeling required things for this exact reason. Because anything there is something that is time gated, limited, or anything like that, people hate that even more than having nothing to do. Because if you have nothing to do, you can at least do something else.
I might come off as like really stupid here, but do people not play this game for fun?
No,
you
know that.
See, here's the thing.
I don't get it.
So my theory about this, in the answer the lies question, is that WoW has been catering to the same player base of players for the last so many years, and these guys are old. Like, people are aging. Most of them, I'm lucky enough to still be a complete degenerate and do nothing with my life, but most of the other people that are my age have jobs, they have kids, they have 14 wives and 30 kids, and they only have 12 minutes a day to play. And so, but the problem is they once upon a life, they were competitive and they still care about their damage and they still want to like not be behind. So Blizzard creates this like pseudo baby competitive environment where you're not required to do anything. There's no chores. You don't spend any time. And you can still be caught up and you can still enter the mythic raid right when it's out or whatever. Because these are people who have been raid logging for 20 years. And so
you can
anything
do that in Dragonflight, though, no?
Yeah, but the thing is people whine when they feel behind, even if it's only a small amount of item levels, even if it's just 2 item levels, or they have 1 craft that's missing, or they're missing 15 crests. Like, the creep of how much people are whining about and being upset about being behind has gone down and down and down. And as Blizzard keeps nuking these systems, people just keep whining about even less and less and less, to the point where we can't even have super rares to get like 2 item levels or these world events or whatever. We just have to get literally nothing and have no rewards now.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like,
which again, like, here's the thing, right? And it sounded very like how do you say, like, pessimistic, but
yeah, you sound like dooming.
The caveat to that is like the good part about WoW right now is the dungeons and is the raids, right? So if you're somebody who just wants the dungeon and just wants the raid and doesn't want to feel that they have to do anything else, then like WoW is great for that, right? Like, they're kind of I don't want to say dividing the player base, but it really feels like they kind of are, right? Where they do have this solo content in the game where they're making these delves and the praise and the transmog and the housing. And then they're like pushing that so far away from delves and raids to the point where like all of those single player people and the people that want to do both are kind of like isolated in their own world. And there's not really this cross pollination of like, oh, I raid, therefore I need to spend some time on some other stuff and do these chores or farm these professions. Like, I would assume almost everybody who's raiding doesn't even like use gold anymore. Like, people either just do sales from people that RMT, or they just buy WoW tokens themselves, right? Like, I would assume that very few people are actually engaging in professions, or if they are, they're not making money on it.
It's I don't the entire thing is weird because I understand that the want for something to do, and people like I think it's health like I think it's better as a whole for people to choose that they want to engage in a useless grind than force everybody into a grind that they feel like is required. Because whether or not Blizzard wants to admit it, they tend to keep pushing people to do these grinds and to keep being optimal. Because like they just added the the Hall of Fame for Delves, right? The Hall of Fame for the Delve boss. They didn't need to add that. There was no.
Hold on. How do you mean they're pushing people? I feel like there's less and less stuff required with every single expansion. No,
I agree with that.
This is the less. This is the less they've ever pushed people into doing things they don't want to. Like, it's basically log in and do whatever you want. It feels like nowadays. No.
Sure, but do you think people would be doing this Delve grind if that achievement didn't exist?
I did the Delve grind last expansion.
No, but specifically leveling up Valeera for it.
I think that grinding for power and then doing something with that power is a core MMO design element. Now, granted, again, like, WoW is falling away from that MMO design, and it's more of a lobby game and like PvE competitive thing, right? But I think there's tons of roots of people who enjoy the idea of doing a 20-second chest run for 5 hours to level up their Valeera in hopes of doing the Delve achievement. Like, I think while that's not for everybody in WoW, I still think a lot of us have that in us. Does that make sense?
I do agree with that. I do think that'll be less people would feel like they need that they want to do this in order to get the achievement, though.
I leveled up my Valeera to 27 and I stopped. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily even true, because I stopped having fun leveling my Valeera at 27. I go, I'm done with this, and then I just logged out. Like, the moment that I stopped having fun leveling my Valeera, I was like, okay, if I feel like I need to come back, after I try the Nemesis boss, I will come back. But I'm not going to subject myself to leveling Valeera all the way up to 45 just because it could give me a marginal advantage versus this Delve boss. Like, if it does,
this is like an isolated contained system, right? Like, if you are going for this achievement in this thingy or whatever, right, you are highly incentivized, and you may feel quote unquote required to do this grind,
I don't know about
right?
highly incentivized, but you are incentivized.
But not for anything else, right? Like, you're not doing this to get to, oh, I need this for dungeons, or I need this to raid. You're exclusively doing this to get the Delve thing, and then you're done, right? It's sort of like any other long reputation grind that has some sort of cosmetic reward in the game.
That's fair. Yeah, this isn't Island Expeditions or Torghast, right? Where it was for core class systems. So that I do agree with.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Whereas those, I mean, that is, you want your character's power to be stronger for everything in the game, and then you are doing Torghast over and over. You're doing, well, I would argue that Islands are a little bit different from Torghast, because Torghast was like, it had a progression, but it was also like time gated, and you had to like come back over and over. Whereas Islands was like weirdly time gated, right? Where like the longer you waited, the more there was this massive catch up. Yeah. And also, like, you didn't necessarily need to do Islands. Like, you could just play the game and get AP. Islands was just an efficient way to get AP.
It was the only repeatable way of getting AP, I think, was the key element to Islands. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really view the Valeera thing as like anything that's actually required. And it's kind of the same thing as like the circling back to what you said at the very beginning before we got off on this tangent. I don't really understand the complaints about needing to do 25 minutes worth of abundances per week per character for professions. Like, maybe I'm just like thinking about this too simply, but like, I just play the game for fun. I do the things in the game that I find fun, and I have to factor in the processes that are required to do the thing that I want that is fun. You know, for some people, they feel like they need a raid because they want to do Mythic Plus. For me, I enjoy both, but like, if I wasn't enjoying raiding and I just wanted to do Mythic Plus, I would have stopped raiding, and then I would have just enjoyed Mythic Plus, and I would have just tried to have been the best I could be instead of trying to be 100% optimal in every single thing I do. I think that people.
Can I say something? Tettles, didn't you come back to raiding because of some raiding change?
Nah,
that made raiding more required for Mythic Plus.
I came back to raiding because I wanted to.
I feel like that's not what you said. I mean, I don't doubt that was part of it, but I feel like you told me you came back because you feel.
Look, there might be some revisionist history here from Tettles, but I appreciate him standing up for his wants, right? He's like, I want to level Valeera. I want to raid, right? You know, I think that's an important thing for like to admit that, right? Like, I feel like so many WoW players are self-convinced that they're slaves of the system, and they're just like, oh, I hate doing this. Oh, I have these chores. Oh, I'm logging in, right? Like, just admit it. You just want to play the game, and these things are fun, and you want to do them, right?
Yes.
I think if I wasn't gonna have fun raiding, I wouldn't have started raiding at all. Like I don't think it was.
That's fair.
I mean, the reason that I stopped raiding was because the splits and the grind were too much relative to the level that I was raiding at, and I don't like farm that much either. But then I found a guild that kind of met my needs, and then it all just kind of made sense. I don't think that. You know, it was also the same time that they announced the turbo boost with dinars. I think it was more like I was considering raiding again, and then they announced that, and I was like, you know what? This could be good for me. I think it was more like this happened around the same time thing, more than it was like this is the reason
it
I'm
all
raiding
contributed.
Again. Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure like, you know, on a subconscious level, yeah, I mean, it might have contributed, but like, if I wasn't having fun raiding, I wouldn't. Cause it is a fucking massive time commitment, right? Like that was the point. Is like, you have to really think about how much time you're spending doing this thing and whether or not you're having fun. Like, don't feel like you're like Growl said, a slave to the system. Just in my opinion, you should just be doing the things in the game that you find fun. And it's not, I don't want to say it's not that serious, but like, not everything has to be min-maxed. Although optimizing is fun. You know,
optimizing is fun.
I will say optimizing is fun. And if you enjoy that, more power to you. We are a podcast based on optimization, right?
Yes.
So we find optimizing fun, but also don't like burn yourself out over stuff that you hate. And I see people. This is also something that kind of bothers me a lot. Is that people won't try because they get stun locked at the starting line, right? They just get like paralyzed before they even attempt to do something, whether it be, you know, going for the Mythic Plus title, trying to raid cutting edge, whatever it may be, because of, you know, my spec isn't good this tier. I don't think that it's actually gonna take a long time for me to be getting into groups. And instead of, you know, trying to overcome those obstacles, they're just like, well, I'm not gonna try. And it's just like for me, I think that the most important thing is, what do I find fun in the game, and then trying to achieve my goals based around like what I find fun. And that's that's why I like the abundance stuff. Like, I don't understand why people are complaining. Like,
well,
if you're not having...
so I want to go back. I might be misunderstanding, but so my understanding of the abundance system was, the way it works is you go into these events, and these events like drop a bunch of stuff, and you can also, they drop this currency, right, that you're collecting. And the more people that are in, the more stuff that you kill. And also there are like profession tools and things that you can use. Like, you can be an herbalist and like herb this big herb, and then it shoots out a bunch of things, and then everybody that's in the event with you gets more because you are an herb and you pulled out this herb. And my understanding was that it was like hemorrhaging rewards, and you could advance in it very quickly, and then they nerfed it, and now you get much less rewards, and people are upset because if you didn't go ham doing these abundance things and like farming them as a group, now it's going to take a lot more time to progress through the system. Am I wrong? That was my impression of why everyone's upset.
There are like 4 different reasons people are upset about abundance. That is one of them. The first one is exploit early, exploit often. Abundance was too abundant, apparently, and so Blizzard nerfed it. Okay. Like, I understand that one.
I'm following this one. Yeah, this makes sense.
Like, if you've done it, the thing was just a dopamine hit, right? Like, if you like dopamine, you Pac-Man all this shit up, you deposit it, you dunk it, you feel real good, and, you know, the low-end dude yells at you. Cool. Like, now it just feels like crap because you don't get like the jackpot big loud noises anymore. So I totally get that one. The other one, like I said, people were just upset that they had to do 30 minutes of this every week. And if you missed a week, if you didn't have early access, you just lost out on a week of currency. Like, there is no catch up. You know, you're losing out on 5,400, which is, you know, however much, you know, multi-craft or whatever. And then people, you know, that's profits and stuff like that. Gold making obviously makes people go crazy. There's now a group of people that, because they nerfed it, they just don't find it fun anymore. I'm one of those people. Like, I just find the activity just not fun. I think they took something fun and just made it not fun. Rewards aside. Okay. So there's like a bunch of different reasons. Like, fun, rewards, just chores. Now it's a chore even more because depending on how much you score in abundance, you get a varying amount of the currency. And before it was trivial because you just got infinite score.
Right.
Yeah.
But now you have a chance of not even getting the optimal score, meaning you get less currency from turning in your weekly rewards. So not only is there a time-gated currency that there's no catch-up on, you now, when you turn in this currency, you might not even get the full amount because you just didn't get enough score.
This sounds less like they're mad about having to play the game for 25 minutes a week and more like they're mad about this system not being very good, which is a more, in my opinion, reasonable argument about like,
everybody is upset about it for different reasons. One of them is absolutely, though, people were upset they had to do 30 minutes per character.
All right, well, that's the one that you lose me on. The rest of them being like, yeah, I don't like this system. All right, I'm in. Like, I can follow.
That's fair. That's completely fair. Side note, okay. Are you done with that? I want to quickly tangent to something.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Are you guys PvPing next week?
No, absolutely
for the Catalyst charge?
No.
No.
So the Catalyst charge, we'll cover that right now. I think that this makes probably the best sense.
We should hit that.
So let me see. Is it actually on this sheet that I have? No, I don't think it's on the sheet. All right, so here's the deal with Catalyst charge. There is you get a Catalyst charge whether you get 2,000 Mythic Plus rating, 1,600 in PvP. I just accidentally muted my mic. 1,600 in PvP or AOTC. This has been like this for tiers and tiers and tiers at this point. Now, 1,600 in PvP is available next week, which is March 17th, or actually, I guess it's today, now that you're watching this. The week of March 24th, that's when Mythic Plus season begins, so 2KIO is open then. But AOTC is not available until the week of March 31st, which means the only way to get your Catalyst on the week of March 17th is by PvPing to 1,600. Now, there are a couple of reasons that this is actually not relevant for anybody who's not in a Race to World First guild. The first and most profound reason is that you want to actually wait and see what your vault is on this reset before you would send your Catalyst anyway. There's also another reason, and it's actually kind of this weird reason, because now Blizzard, once you get your 4 set, you're able to drop tokens that convert into Catalyst charges. We don't know, maybe Squishy has a little bit more intel into this. It seems like it's unclear as to whether or not there's a cap on the amount of drops that can happen per week. It seems like there's a cap to the Catalyst, which is 8 charges, but nobody really knows, at least in my circles, like I've been asking people, nobody really knows how many that you can get on a per week basis. But once you have all pieces of your 4 set, then you can drop Catalyst charges from Delve completion, M+ dungeon completion, and boss kills. So actually getting your tier set as fast as possible is relevant, but that means that also doing it on things like LFR matters, but no relevant content comes out until the week of March 24th anyways, which means that you don't need a PvP next week. So would you say that's the most fair explanation of everything that's happening with that? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay.
I mean, I think people feel inspired to PvP. Whether or not they'll actually do it depends on how much they hate PvP. I hate PvP, and I'm not going to touch it. So
there's some other nonsense too, right? Like something about being able to get sockets in your items beforehand. Like if you buy the PvP gear, it's the same eye level as what you have, and then you can use the PvP currency to buy sockets. That's another thing as well.
I don't even know.
I haven't looked at any of that, actually. I did not know. I was
They're
not
just
aware.
very, very small optimizations that, I mean, considering the price of enchants and gems right now, like, good luck. Holy moly. You really want to be dumping those?
The only stuff that's actually relevant, I think, is actually trying to get your 4 set as fast as possible. And I think if you raid in a guild, there is merit in doing LFR as a guild to try to source tier pieces to people to get their tier sets. That way they can unlock the Catalyst charge drops. But that's, I think, the most relevant thing out of this entire saga. I think if you're a Race to World First raider, it does make sense to PvP because you're converting Heroic Week time saved into Mythic Week times, Heroic Week time spent into Mythic Week time saved. Whereas if you're any other player in the game, you're gonna want to do Mythic Plus anyways the moment that Season 1 begins, because that's the best gearing source, and 2KIO is like 7s.
Well,
like you're gonna get it.
you get the catalyst charge also from AOTC, no?
Yes, but AOTC doesn't drop until the 31st. Because
It's
AOTC
ATC of the third raid, not
Yes.
the first raid.
Oh,
It's
okay,
AOTC
that
of
makes sense.
Kel'Danas.
Okay, I was wondering why anyone cared about it because but so in order to get the catalyst charge, you need to kill all of the raid bosses, and not all of the raid bosses will be active on heroic next week. Okay, that makes sense.
I think it's Midnight Falls is the prereq on it. I found
Yes.
the Wildhood post. Yeah.
Yeah.
Defeat Midnight Falls on heroic or mythic difficulty. Attain 2,000 PvP or mythic plus rating. Attain 1,600 PvP rating. And yeah, here's that catalyst thing that I was talking about. Makes it so a catalyst charge will drop from additional in-game sources once a player has acquired their class set bonus. And by unlocking this achievement, players can see catalyst charges drop from mythic plus raid bosses, del chests, and more. Which is, I think that this is probably one of the bigger deals of the entire thing. But I don't think the PvP rating is relevant.
The awkward part is if heroic Illyria is tuned high enough that you want your set. Because they've done that before with Razageth.
Well, I mean, that boss is like almost unkillable. We couldn't even kill that boss in Vesper until they nerfed it.
Yeah, like it kind of depends where the tuning on Illyria and the other bosses ends up. That maybe you do need, like, you basically need forset on people, at which point that would be a little awkward.
I mean, what is my guild not killing Illyria this week then? Like, that would be.
Or you have to divert tier pieces to complete a 4 and say, fuck the achievement.
We don't do splits. Nobody's getting a 4 set from. I mean.
You can. You can.
We're gonna have like 3 people in our raid with it. Yeah, sure. I mean, we could.
I mean, it's definitely a lot harder because there's also no Curio this time. Curio is also again coming in 2 weeks with Midnight Falls. So like the teardrops are a lot more limited this time around if you don't PvP in general, and also because there's no Curio.
If you don't PvP until M Plus comes out,
yes.
And then
this
one
week,
day in the season, it becomes very reasonable to obtain.
Yeah,
yes.
But okay, I guess in theory, if what's it called? Crown of the Cosmos? Is that the Illyria encounter?
Yeah.
Cosmos Fall? No, that's Midnight Falls. All right, yeah, Crown of the Cosmos. Say Crown of the Cosmos is really hard. Yeah, you could. I mean, that almost to me feels like almost like fear mongering a little bit. Like it's almost like unnecessary worry. Like if it's way too hard or something like that, yeah, maybe. In theory, though, like you want to just wait until the week of March 24th to even see what your vault contains, because none of the content that's opening up on March 17th is like long-term relevant. Not that it's not useful to like full clear. It's just like the stuff that you're doing week 1 isn't going to affect your future weeks, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would be careful there. I think as we get into the heroic raid, people are going to start to get stuck and want to start to send stuff. I agree with your sentiment, though. You don't want to send resources if you don't have to, but
yeah, I guess I'm speaking to like somebody who's in like a cutting edge level guild. Like if you're in anything lower, I think sending almost for immediate power makes sense. Like you can't really get punished for sending for immediate power, and then that kind of ties in with crafting. You can craft right now, and it's not that big of a deal. Obviously you can't use crests to craft, but you can come back and like say you're playing a demon hunter, you can just craft a one-handed weapon right now with your 2 sparks, and I think it's like 259 item level. I think that a lot of people are going to be doing that. Like I think that next week I'm going to be crafting a 2-handed staff. And I'm not going to be spending.
A lot of people craft a weapon.
Yeah, I'm not going to be throwing any crests at it, but I'll throw all 4 of my sparks at it, and then I'll put some embellishment Dark Moon deck on it, and then I'll craft some blue piece at, I don't know what you can get it up to, 243 item level, something like that. I'll craft some blue piece with some nonsense embellishment as well, and that helps you try to do heroic. But again, these are like.
Well, we will have to see.
They're not long-term like it's not something like even if you make these decisions now, it's not affecting you any way negatively long-term, or honestly even really positively long-term. It's just kind of a thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if they undertune this because of this is the first raid with the add-on changes, but who knows?
I wouldn't be shocked if this raid's undertuned because we're coming in at 240 item level.
The add-on changes. The great add-on purge of 2026.
I think it would be so bad for them if they did the add-on changes, which did almost nothing.
Yeah.
And then had an overtuned raid.
Okay. Let's circle this into our next Q&A question that we have from Jarlin. He says, now that Midnight is out, how do you feel about Blizzard's war on add-ons and how it actually went. Was it pointless now that they've rolled so many things back? Do you think they'll eventually walk back the walkbacks that they continue to improve their base UI, or was this just a complete failure? I mean, Squishy, it sounds like you're pointing maybe towards failure, but like,
so
elaborate.
How do
further.
I feel about it? They just ran out of time. Like, despite Ian saying, what was, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something like, we were ahead of schedule or something like that. They absolutely, fundamentally ran out of time and did not understand how much the community would try to break their secret system. I wonder if he regrets saying they were ahead of schedule at this point, because that has been brought up so much. But like, I still agree with it. I think all of these are band-aids that are eventually going to be removed again.
Okay.
The question is when.
Let's rank these. We're ahead of schedule. You think you do, but you don't. And the ripcord incident.
Ooh, the ripcord.
Which one's the?
All of them are. I feel like all of them are S tier.
Which one was the best to worst? Do you think?
I mean, S plus is absolutely. Don't you guys have phones? Like,
oh, the Diablo announcement.
Oh, jeez. This is just a tier list with only S tiers. I mean, as a classic Andy, I have to say number one is you think you do, but you don't.
Okay. I think the ripcord was really bad.
The ripcord is really bad simply because like they basically came out and said before the expansion came out, like, don't worry guys, like if you don't like this, we'll change it, and then they didn't. And it's just like, bro,
why'd you even offer that? Yeah.
It didn't really. And like they didn't even come back with any sort of metrics of like, well, you know, the vocal minority or whatever seems to not like it, but actually a lot of people are engaging with it, blah blah blah. It was just complete silence from them.
Can you explain why you think the add-on changes are actually going to contribute to the raid being undertuned? Like, can you expand on that a little bit further? I'm interested in hearing your thoughts.
In terms of PR, I think it would be one of the worst case scenarios for Blizzard to go through all these add-on things, months and months of negative PR about their add-on changes, where you walk most of them back and then have a extremely tough raid where people are missing stuff like the ability to track certain procs, track, you know, all this shit that they want to, like, you now have to have an add-on for Time Spiral and have a massively overtuned raid that only the top 1%, like, you know, 0.01% could do. It would be absolutely atrocious for their reputation, in my opinion.
I follow now.
Like, if we get another Araz, another Styx, like,
on Mythic,
you think about it, yeah, on Mythic. Heroic, I think they have a little more room because of some progression, but like, I don't think they have room to completely go crazy with things, which makes me think they're going to be a little more on the safe side.
Sure.
I think I agree with your conclusion, but I actually don't think that's how it would play out. Okay. I think a majority of the player base either is fine with add-ons and they mostly have their shit figured out now and doesn't care, or most importantly, just does not raid Mythic and will never encounter these bosses or notice any difference or care about Mythic tuning. I would almost say, I remember saying this many patches ago, but I think at this point there are more people that actually watch the Race to World first than actually do Mythic raid. And if you remember Gallywix and the Undermine, that was, like, in my opinion, a totally fine boss as a raider, but because it was seen as like an easy boss in the Race to World first, so many people were throwing shade at that raid and talking about how bad it went that I would almost argue that, like, people just want a hard raid because they want to watch it. And then the average cutting edge guy who is frustrated by their add-ons, like, by the time that happens where, you know, people like me and Drogo's Guild are stuck on the 6th boss or whatever, like, I think most of the tourists don't care about the raid or are gone from the game by then.
Okay, this might be a hot take. I think people are not ready for this raid. And because of how much Manaforge Omega was a joke, the changes, there are some significant changes still to the raid. The fact that a lot of people changed the ability name of something to Soak instead of insert real ability name, right? Like, I think there's going to be some rude awakenings the second this tier comes out.
This is so
and
good
having
for
to
my guild.
adjust.
This is so good for my guild. All those other guilds are gonna be able to fraud watch like Drogo's guild. Oh my god.
Like
No. I talked to Drogo and he said now the raid leader is a more important job because people don't have their add-ons, so he will much more easily raid leader diff everybody. So this is actually a huge buff to Drogo's guild.
That is a good point, and
Okay.
there's also the well-known quote from Drogo, I wish I could raid with 19 other versions of myself, that way I get world first.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Or you can
But
say
yeah,
especially-
that was my random hot take. I think there's gonna be a rude awakening for a lot of people.
I'm interested to see how it goes. I
I
agree
do.
with your conclusion though that I think they're gonna go easy on tuning simply because of the mix of the perception on add-ons and it's the first raid of the expansion and they had like certain bosses that are like, you know, really high difficulty jumps last expansion for pretty much every raid, and I think they're going to be looking to try and fight against all those things.
I think just generically not having like weak auras be in your ear and be like soak next and stuff like that is like I think that's going to be a huge change for just like the
I don't know. I guess I'm interested to see how things go. So the concept of Blizzard's war on add-ons, let's be honest, we were hating on add-ons and we were hoping they were going to rip everything out of the ground. I don't think Blizzard was that vocal or stated that they had those goals of purging all the add-ons. Where the disconnect was Blizzard said, we want you to be able to do everything in game that you can do with add-ons. And so everybody basically knew that, okay, well, Blizzard's not going to be able to do that. So that means they're cutting add-ons. And instead they ended up walking it back and then, just allowing the add-ons and not really reaching their stated goal. But I mean, to be fair, they did remove the computational stuff, right? Like that was the stuff that they kind of got rid of. Well, yeah, I guess we'll see. Okay, fair enough. But
I think the biggest hit is that weak auras, the add-on, are gone. Not that like weak auras functionality would be removed, but I think that the fact that the add-on doesn't exist outside of like an unsupported forked version of it is
isn't that crazy? To like now thinking back, like how virtually nothing has changed on the add-on front other than just everyone had to reconfigure add-ons and they're all a little bit goofier now. Isn't it really crazy that weak auras is just gone? Like they just said, yep, we're not doing this. Like, I mean, I get it. Like it's their project. We appreciated having them around for so long, but I mean,
yeah,
nothing has really changed, like it's literally the fact that the add-on, like Blizzard could have done nothing, and if weak auras shut down their project, it would have been basically the same as it is now.
Yeah. I am also very curious to see how this goes, to be honest. I'm excited to raid again. It's been a while. I'm excited to see what Blizzard can do. I think some of the raid fights look awesome. And Heroic Week, I think, is very, very fun. So,
dude, what's up with all these AoE fights this tier? I started doing research like a couple of days ago, and then it's just every single boss I click on, it's like stacked AoE, spread cleave, this mob is spawning balls on CD, and it's just like, and then for some reason this guy spawns 500 ads every 45 seconds. Why is every single fight in this raid got some AoE? Why is there like only one boss that's like even some semblance of single target? Like, what's even going on?
I don't know. I think every boss in this raid is split cleave.
I think what's that guy? I think his name starts with an A. You gotta kill the wall.
Second boss or whatever.
Yeah, the second boss. I think he's mostly single target, but yeah.
He has ads.
But I mean,
Voracious.
there are ads, though, yeah.
Voracious is his name. That's
Yeah.
Well,
You still need to kill his ads on the walls, which is split cleave.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you do have to kill those beetles on the wall. I feel like he's more single target than anything. I would.
Yeah, he's the closest.
Yeah,
but
sure. But the fact that that's the closest, by the way, that we're talking about is a boss that has walls that you have to kill ads on top of is like crazy. There's that dragon fight in Salhadar. Like both of those fights have just so many ads sometimes.
Ads are weird because after playing both Mage and Hunter and Raid, I feel like with ads, there's so often the haves and the have-nots of like, as a mage, when you're doing your surge and you're in touch, like switching targets is like basically you're just deleting your character. Like you're just doing 0 damage if you have to switch targets during your cooldowns. Whereas Hunter like loses virtually nothing or whatever. They don't care, at least with the old BM build or whatever. So it just creates this interesting dynamic of like some classes are really good at the ads. I feel like on medium difficulty fights, it ends up being fine, right? Like it can be kind of a fun mini game to be like who can be the biggest padding idiot and just kill all the ads, and like, hey, if they live a little longer, like it's a little stress on the healer or the tank, but it's not so bad. But once you get to like Dimensius levels of difficulty where it's like, oh, there's this ad that spawns, and if you don't kill it, and there's 4 different ads, and you need to kill all 4 of them within 8 seconds, or it's an immediate wipe, like, and you're playing a class that can't do anything about it, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, One Arm Bandit was the big one there, I think. Like,
Well,
that fight, Shadow Priest was like 3 times better than every other class.
okay, I have a hot take. I actually think that they should experiment more with fights similar to like One Arm Bandit in terms of like AoE design, because they just keep giving us this Forge Weaver Araz Soulbinder-esque AoE where it's, yep, charge up the meat cleaver, we're just gonna spin to win, we're blade storming on the mobs, baby, and you kill them in like 6.5 seconds, and it's like,
kids speaking.
no man, like they literally only designed that
speaking.
kind of AoE in the fucking raid. Like Brute Twister and even Queen Ansarek was the exact same AoE. They literally only designed that kind of AoE in the raid, and then the one time they designed any form of split cleave, people start complaining, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like they don't really do enough to make AoE interesting, to the point where Growl exactly said the same thing at the beginning, where he's talking about the differences between Hunter and Mage, where, yeah, of course the Hunter is better. He does 100% of his AoE in 3 fucking globals. Like, yeah, I'm sure he's better at AoEing these 5 health mobs.
I mean, I think it creates a little bit of like a fun mini game for DPS players, I guess, to be padding idiots. Like that's kind of what I assume the purpose is. Like it's not meant to be, it's sort of like, how would you say, like opt-in strategy? Like for instance, these ad fights. So like what was the second boss of Mana Forge Omega with like the ads in the prison
Soulbinder.
that basically
Yeah.
did nothing? You know, or the Araz ads that basically do nothing. I feel like it sort of creates this like opt-in thing where if you just want to like do your single target damage and not really care, like it's not like you're like maybe in like a really tight prog guild, you know, but even then like these bosses are so easy that you don't care. So, I mean, they just, you know, oh, if you want to, like, really think deeply and, like, try and min-max so that you can, like, blow up all the ads in 2 seconds when they come out, which somehow every single person that I've ever raided with in the history of raiding does that, by the way. Like, I don't even know how. Like, they can't even figure out how to go to fucking triangle when their weak aura says go to triangle, but they have this, like, advanced calculus formula in their head, so, like, they have the greatest AoE burst of all time as soon as any ads appear in the game, and they've, like, pre-planned 17 chess moves in advance to have the exact optimal cooldown window to kill every single little shitter blob that comes out before I can do anything.
I think they should try more with AoE fights as opposed to that is the default style of AoE fight. Like I'm not a fan of it.
I agree with you. I think the thing is, every fight that they've tried to experiment with that stuff on has been very tightly tuned. Right? Like One Arm Bandit, if you didn't have a bunch of Shadow Priests, you know, Dev Evokers and whatever else was really good on that fight, you literally probably could not kill the boss. And I think that in itself is a problem, is whenever they experiment with these fights, they make it insanely difficult from a tuning perspective. Right? Like Styx was a very similar way.
What do you think about Brute Twister or Ansarek webs, which is like the exact same thing in reverse, where you need this DK or this Fury Warrior to go Super Saiyan 6 on these ads, otherwise we're not killing them in time.
I also hate that. Like,
I mean, like I feel like it works exactly in reverse, except sometimes this Dev Evoker can contribute versus, you know, he's single targeting this ad on one arm. Oh, I guess he's not, the Dev Evoker's not single targeting ad, but like
I think Split Cleave is weird though, because not every spec can do it. Every spec can do AoE if mobs are grouped up. If mobs are not grouped up, there is some like AoE is already not balanced. There's even more of an imbalance the second you bring in Split Cleave. Look at Psychic Link.
I've taken a long look at Psychic Link this week. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's balanced at all. I think that either they should like be okay with it not being balanced, or like, you know, actually do something different. Like, I don't know. I think that something that's going to catch people off. Have you looked at that Salhadar fight at all?
Yeah.
Bro, that is the most split cleave fight I've seen in a hobby. Those orbs
mean,
are spread.
I mean, the double dragon is even worse.
Oh yeah,
It's just two split cleave the entire time.
I mean, it depends on how hard those orbs are too. So every 45 seconds, that boss also spawns 20 orbs off of players' positions that have to be killed and CC'd, which I don't. I'm gonna watch the race
And
world first.
CC'd,
Oh
or-
yes, I'm gonna have to watch the race
yeah.
world first to figure out what the fuck they're gonna do about that. But it is a mechanic of all time. It is a lot of ads, and they are just like spamming them at you.
'Cause I feel like they've done you have to CC the orbs and they spawn on every player's before. Like they've done that several times, but now you have to kill them too.
It's Razageth orbs, except you have to kill them. Yes,
Yeah,
and they move.
interesting.
They move and they're grippable. So like,
Yeah.
but they spawn every.
That is a double blood DK fight, maybe.
But the problem is that double blood decay is not enough Gorfine's grasp, even though Gorfine's is a minute and a half. Because on Mythic, the intermission has, I think there's like an image of the bosses that also casts the orbs. So it's like the first orb set spawns like 20 seconds into the fight. The second set is like 55 seconds, and then the third set's like a minute 10 or something.
All right, 3 tank.
I mean, what if it's too
I
tightly
don't
tuned?
know.
Like, what if we can't 3 tank? Like, you know, it could be 3 tankable. Because I think that for all intents and purposes, Sigil of Chains, Mass Grip, and Protection Warrior Kick are like the same utility for that. So in theory, you could 3 tank it if you have access to those tanks. But then if it's tightly tuned, then you can't 3 tank it. And then like, where are we? I don't know. That fight's gonna be insane. Like, I don't know what's going on with that fight. But
That fight is weird.
the point was more that I was making is like, it's crazy that all the fights are AoE. They're also doing unique stuff with like, there is not a small amount of spread cleave this year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I hope you have spread cleave. I mean, we'll see how it goes, right? Like, it always comes down to tuning. Always.
100%. I'm with you.
So.
Speaking of tuning, wow. What a insane day that we had 2 days ago on Friday. Blizzard announced perhaps the largest amount of class tuning I've ever seen, where we're throwing around numbers like all damage reduced by 20% and all damage increased by 20%. I think something like 20 of the 27 DPS specializations in the game got changed in some capacity, whether it be buffed or nerfed, which is bananas. I don't know if I've ever seen tuning this large. I don't know if I've ever seen tuning that is this also meta warping on a post-launch patch. Numbers this big are, I would say, typically reserved for betas and PTRs.
It's pretty insane.
I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm going to be honest. Like, what was the beta for if we're getting numbers like, not that, okay, I will say very clearly, I'm not mad at these numbers. We'll go through this in a second. I think that more often than not, they actually were hitting the right specs and hitting them with the right numbers. You know, there are some exceptions, but I think in general, they were hitting the right specs with the right numbers. Why is there a 20% damage nerf on a patch note for a game that's already live? How did we get here?
Because they needed it.
What was the beta for?
Not class tuning.
Clearly, yeah.
I mean, they simply just didn't do the class tuning beforehand. Like, okay, so
is
hear
that
me out. I think-
okay?
So I think there was this weird consequence of. Do you remember in War Within when, like, during this time, people were freaking out over class balance, and it was mainly just because it was M0 week and it was heroics, and like certain classes were just good, and then so people were complaining, and then they like basically did a tuning patch. And everyone was like, what are you doing? Like, we're like, you're tuning off of heroic dungeons and M0 dungeons or whatever. And so I kind of feel, and this is like, you know, definitely a little bit of a cook, but I almost think that like maybe they wanted to save a very obvious and justified balance patch for this period so that it would feel better, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Justify all of these. Like, I think that they all make sense, but it's like, damn, these are some big numbers. And if I was playing, you know, dude, this Guardian Druid specialization, do you know, what was the number? What was the end number on that squishy? Do you know?
The end number? I think it was No, I don't. I somebody told us to me at some point. Let me see if I can find
Somebody
it.
said like 35% damage nerf. Like if I
Oh,
can't...
that. Oh, that. No, I don't. I thought you were talking about the original.
I'd be furious, right? Like if I caught a 35% nerf, like not because I didn't need to get nerfed, but because like how did I need a 35% nerf after launch?
Right. Like you're basically saying like this was obvious 2 weeks ago. Why didn't they just do it 2 weeks ago? And to that,
Yeah.
again, I don't really know. That's sort of my conspiracy is they like wanted to have like they were almost like holding it back on purpose for like reasons. Like maybe they
Yeah.
didn't want to make like they almost like wanted you to feel uncomfortable with the way balance was and just pick your class as opposed to like saying, okay, here's how it's going to be. This is the best balance we got. And then they still do a tuning patch that might mess things up. Maybe they're just like, hey, this is the Wild West. Like, you're totally on your own with what you pick. So you better pick what's fun because it might not be good. And then they rolled out with the balance tuning that, like, I'm assuming that they're not gathering this data from what's on live right now, right? Like, they're not tuning for M0s and stuff, or they're weighing that very low compared to, like, all of these notes are just from the
beta data,
clearly,
right?
right?
Yeah. It had to be beta data that they had 3 weeks ago, which then calls into question, like, what is the beta for if it's not to post these changes on it?
I don't mind them like waiting and like I think waiting and doing it right is better than the constant tuning because that just kind of whiplashes people all over the place. But like,
Sure.
This is definitely abnormal for them.
I would describe
right?
this
Like
as thrash, right? This is these are sweeping changes.
I don't think anybody here like most people should not be surprised by these changes. Like I think these changes mostly all made sense, and so
That's right. Yeah.
I think they're fine. It's weird, and I hope they don't. Did it matter in the end? Not really, because the tier is starting. Them doing it right before season 1, arguably the best time for them to do this. But the question then is just why is it so far out? And I don't really have an answer to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have to default to the way that I thought in The War Within was throughout the betas and the PTRs, things looked really weird. And then somehow, some way, whenever the patch came together and the season started, the balance was very, very good. Obviously, there's always exceptions, but compared to expansions before it, I think this game is getting more and more balanced. I mean, one big issue that we're running into, like we saw tuning from basically every tank. Dorky put out a really good video on this about basically how Blizzard really needs to work harder to balance tanks because of how complicated it is, right? Like, as a tank, it feels like they're almost strictly going off of like single target raid numbers. But the problem is there's so many different trade-offs a tank has, right? Like, very often in the in the talent trees, you're trading survivability versus damage. And then even within damage, you're trading AoE versus single target. And it's like, you could have a build that looks like X class is doing way more damage than any other class, but that build is just like completely not viable, right? Like Prop Paladin, for example, if you're running the big damage build with crit wings and stuff, you're going to be blasting and doing fine damage, but like you're not living with that. And yeah, you're not doing the highest keys, if you're a normal person, but then also you're a normal person, so you suck and you're not dorky, so you still need the defense anyway,
I think I think the most important thing that's kind of lost on tank tuning in general is the number one rule of tanks is never die ever. And then you have tank theory crafters recommending puzzle box and stuff, and it's just like this really weird situation where Squishy, were you ever playing for offense like in a way that would have ever have wiped us? Whenever you were tanking, like, were you ever?
No, I almost always play defensively. Like,
yeah, tanks just do though. Tanks just do. Like the thing is, Squishy has a brain. Like I'm telling you, every tank in every guild plays.
Oh, thanks,
like
girl.
that.
I actually don't think most. I think that bad tanks play like that, where they're trying to like parse almost at the expense of your raid. Because again, the first rule of tanking is do not die ever. Like, I want to see like 0 deaths in your tank over the course of the night. Like, sure, there are hard tank fights, like the Jailer and Sired and Athreus. Like, if your tank dies on that fight, like, all right, I get it. But if he's channeling up his puzzle box and he can't parry the boss or block the boss, and then he dies, your GM is disappointed. Squishy's gonna sit you down after raid and be like, I'm disappointed in the fact that you were dying trying to parse with puzzle box, and like that is the
but the problem
conversation
is
you're
like
getting.
the problem is just it's so hard to find good tanks that just want to sit there and play tank and raid.
But then
I don't know,
Blizzard,
I mean, I don't know, like, you want your tank to play defensive and play safe and do whatever, but, like, they just won't, right? Like, it's the same reason, like, like, when healers talk, it's, like, so annoying. Like, why don't healers just shut up and just put the heal in the bag and just sit there, right? But they just talk and they say things and they tell you what you should do as a DPS player, and it's like, you wish you could have it one way, but they just won't listen.
It's
and
crazy that we started
I think
this
with tanks,
podcast.
it's the same way.
It's crazy we started this podcast a year and a half ago and you were a healer, and now you said that.
Now Jank B's come out.
Yep.
Mask off. Yeah.
Okay, tell us, I have a question for you.
What's up?
Why is it so bad if during the preseason things are unbalanced?
I actually don't mind things being imbalanced in the preseason. Like,
Okay, I'll take Tettle's side. Let me take Tettle's side. Okay, so the problem is they're missing out on balance opportunities, right? Like, if they know what they need to balance, then balance it, and then let's play so that we can gather more data, right? Because they're not going to be 100% accurate with every class, right? They're going to roll out this patch, and they're still going to be wrong, and they're still going to need additional balance changes. So why not roll it out as fast as possible when you know that they should? That way we can start gathering data on the new changes.
I think it's actually a little bit more simple than that. I think it's like, I don't like the concept of ever needing to throw down a number of this magnitude, right? Throwing down a 20% nerf or a 20% buff to anything, I think should be pretty much like, that should be like, we have messed up. Like, we have criminally messed up. Like, actually, and I think that they should have tuned off of the fact, like, you remember Affliction Lock last tier? How they randomly got nerfed because their Liberation of Undermine tier set was too good. So then they ended up like randomly getting nerfed, and then they ended up not being that good. That was weird. Like, Blizzard should not tune based off of that stuff. Blizzard should tune off of when you have tier sets and what like a geared semi-geared character looks like or at least in theory. So like
you said
I don't mind that the game is not balanced for heroic rate or heroic dungeons or M0s or anything like that. I mind that we came into the expansion, it's been out for 2 weeks at this point, and we get a number that is as large as 20% after, I don't want to say people have geared characters because there's no real permanence with anything that's going on, but people have made decisions as to what to main, and then they get a number like a 35% Bear Druid nerf. Like, that it just can't feel good, because a lot of people made decisions off of what they want to play based off of that, or level.
Wasn't it just earlier in the episode you were saying, why don't people just play for fun?
I don't think this is fun for anybody. Okay, this might be fun for me. I got a fucking 17%
like,
buff, but like
the exact way. The exact
yeah, I was
way
gonna say, no, Tettles is right. Let's roll back this Moonkin buff. Let's put it to about like a 4% buff, and then we're good, right?
Like, I don't mean to call you out here, but I am, just because like, just earlier you were like, just play what you want to play and how you want to play.
Yeah.
So if you just want to play Moonkin, just play Moonkin regardless of the buffs that come out. Why does it, like, you don't play that way, and that's fine. But I'm trying to point out that, like, a lot of people play the game differently, and how they have fun might be they just play their favorite BM Hunter no matter how good or how bad it is.
Is it hypocritical to say that you shouldn't have a 20% buff after the expansion goes out, yet at the same time you can play whatever you want? Like, I was gonna play Moonkin regardless, like this tier. I was not expecting this. Like, this is a fucking massive buff. Like, I'm stoked, right? Like, I am very, very happy. I was gonna play Moonkin literally regardless. I don't think that that's hypocritical. Maybe I'm missing the point that you're making though.
Basically, just earlier with the abundance thing, you were saying essentially,
yeah,
I don't understand why people are feeling the need to optimize this. And now you're essentially saying, well, now I feel the need to optimize this because they just nerfed something by 20% and people are picking their main based on it.
Well, I mean, I think that these are like almost different people.
I agree, but the point is the same. They are choosing to engage with the systems that they enjoy and are choosing to optimize however they want, and this can be frustrating. That's the only thing I'm trying to point out.
Yeah.
Two different groups of people who are both prioritizing and love the things that they want to do. can be frustrated due to things that Blizzard chooses to do.
Yeah, I get your point. I don't think it's hypocritical, but I find it difficult to argue against in a way that makes sense.
It's fair. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know how to really articulate the reasons that I don't think it's hypocritical, because like I think that these are almost like completely different things, I guess is the best way of describing it. One is like playing the game, and the other is experiencing balanced thrash that is frustrating, right? Like, you should just play the game and you should have fun playing the game, I think is like a key thing. At the same time, some people, whenever they were like, doing research on the expansion, they were trying to figure out what they wanted to play, and they were picking between a few specializations, and they might have been, led down a specific rabbit hole for one reason or another, and now they're like, oh, this shit's actually getting a massive change in a way that I'm not happy about.
Yeah, everybody's welcome to feel like that, right? Like, this definitely can be frustrating. Go ahead, Growl.
Would you be happy if you were a Shadow Priest?
I don't know the impact of the Shadow Priest nerfs.
Well, they got a 20%
single target buff.
They got a 20% single target buff and a 8 to 12% AoE nerf when they weren't that good at AoE. I think I would not be happy to be a Shadow Priest, but
I don't play Shadow Priest. I can't comment.
Yeah, I don't know.
Growl, do you have anything to add?
No.
I think we disagree, and I think it's fine. All right, what else? What else we got?
Before we leave the balance changes, any like big thoughts on winners or losers or things that have changed?
I've heard people speculating that Feral is looking real good.
Yeah, the funny thing about Feral, I was actually looking into this because I was wanting to gear my Druid through Raid for M+, but so I was like, maybe I play Feral. I don't know, it's really weird because like right now, from my understanding, is like Feral is the boss killer. According to Sims, at least, it's doing like some of the highest single target damage to the boss, and that's all it does. And so when you think about in the context of this raid specifically, the fact that there's so many spread cleave fights and AoE and like important ads they're gonna have to die, it's a very unlucky time for Feral to be on top for single target DPS. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I think winners probably, in my mind, it's like Moonkin one big. I think Havoc Demon Hunter. This spec actually could be meta in some capacity. I think this spec one big. I think Ellie Shaman not getting nerfed. That is a big win for Ellie Shaman. Ret Paladin, I think, got a 17% damage increase. This spec one big. Specs that lost, I think Shadow Priest. I think that this is actually, I tentatively think that this is going to be terrible in Mythic Plus. It might be okay in Raid, but I think that this is very likely to be not that good in Mythic Plus. I think Bear Druid's probably the other massive loser, right? Losing 35% of your damage is like, that's a tough look.
It feels bad, right? Because as a bear, I mean, you're like, okay, my tank is on top right now, and so therefore, like, you're kind of hoping that you're going to stay on top, and you know you're going to get nerfed. It's just a question of how much, and then it's like, well, I was taken out back. I mean, another big thing about Bear was that when it comes to Raid, Feral and Boomy both got buffed to the point where it's like, okay, now literally every Druid spec is looking like it's playable in like, high level raid progression. And I think when you look at tanks, I think that's a big minus, right? Whereas when you compare Prot Warrior or Brew, for example, where their alternatives are not like in the dumps, but they're not looking nearly as good as Druids are.
Yeah. Circling back to your question, Squishy, I thought about it a little more. I think it's about the scale of these changes that we're seeing more than anything else.
And that's fair. Like, I can agree with that. The scale is definitely larger than it's been in the past.
Yeah, it feels like it's larger than I would argue larger than it should be. Like, especially, dude, Growl said something earlier. We were talking about like War Within balance. War Within was probably the best balanced expansion. I suspect that Blizzard's going to get their shit together and make everything tuned appropriately. It can't feel great to be on one of the, the have-not ends of this list, right? Like that just can't feel great.
Probably not, but I think knowing that there's a balance patch in 1 week,
Yeah.
again, like, I think that's a good bonus of knowing that they're going to be actively doing week-to-week tuning right
Yeah.
now, right? Like, so that's a side plus, and why I'm not super upset by it. Like, Dev got nerfed, Og got nerfed a little. Like, it is what it is. The only way that I think balance particularly upsets me is when you can't bring a relatively reasonable comp and kill a boss. Right? Like, if you have to double stack Blood Decay, or you have to hard stack Shadow Priest, or like that kind of stuff, that's when I'm like, what is going on with class tuning? Otherwise, I'm kind of the opinion that, like, no matter what you do, as long as the boss is killable, it's fine.
Yeah, my issue is more with the process. No, I actually don't really mind the numbers per se. It's more the process that they went through, where it's like, why are the timing? I think I just have a major problem with. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Hey, speaking of class tuning, they just updated their class tuning.
The fuck? What do they do?
Breaking news.
Yeah, here you go. You can, be a news reporter, Growl.
Good googly moogly.
What do we got here? We made several changes to the tuning pass tomorrow. Updated Fire Mage. Fireball damage increased by 15. Frostfire increased by 15. Fire Blast damage increased by 15. This is interesting because Fire had the niche right now of being the lowest damage, but also being the safest because you have Cauterize. Now that Mage got stripped of some of its defensives, there is actually a lot of value in playing Fire to have that cheat death. And now, I don't know the numbers-wise. You just sit and wait in the Mage Discord until what smarter people say to figure that out. But if Fire is comparable single target now, then we might see that being played, whereas before I'm not so sure. A very small Mistweaver thing. And it looks like slight Ret Paladin nerfs, but very, 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 very small. Not much though.
Less big Ret Paladin buffs is what this reads like.
Oh yeah. Well, so Ret Paladin got buffed a lot and actually was looking pretty good damage wise, which is surprising because like usually Ret Paladin just isn't. And it was like competitive with many of the other melees right now. And I'm not a Ret Paladin specialist, but they basically just lowered a couple of the buff numbers from that patch. So it's not like Ret Paladin's overall getting nerfed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is going to change much. The general thought is the same. There are still big numbers there, but I understand, like, the numbers should not be that high, but if it's what they need to correct it, like, I'd rather them put a higher number and correct it than leave a lower number. So
I'm with you on that. Like, dude, I'm glad that it's getting solved, and I'm glad that they're trying to give us probably similar class tuning to what we had in the War Within. Like, I think that's yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really... These feel like pretty small. I'm shocked that they felt like they needed to do anything else or post anything else. Like, I feel like they're going to have to do, or I don't say have to. They announced that they have 4 consecutive weeks of class tuning. So we're going to have class tuning next Friday and the Friday after that and the Friday after that, which is, it's kind of crazy to think about, right?
It's good. I mean, we've come a long way since I remember complaining about, like, where's that class tuning for a while?
Oh yeah. Is it a good thing that they pre-announced the class tuning? I feel like I'm happier that they did that, just in general.
I think that as veterans of the game, we know exactly what they're gonna do. The fact that they're gonna announce it on the Friday and then they're gonna post it, or they're gonna do it on the Tuesday, and then they're gonna do it again on Heroic Week. But it's nice that they communicate that, because I think for people who aren't terminally playing the game like us, they don't really know that. And I think being transparent of like letting people know what to expect and when to expect it, I think is good. I mean, I remember Squishy telling me that very early on, that like, even if it doesn't matter, people just like knowing, right? Like, you just like having that in your head that like, okay, I don't have to spam refresh on Wowhead the entire day. I just know that on Friday they're going to post the notes for Tuesday, and then I can just wait till then to see.
Yeah, even better, they post them about when they clock out of the office, around, like 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time on Friday, so you can hit the button and just get out of the office.
Coincidentally, a really good time to record the podcast as well.
This has worked out.
If you happen to have a
perfectly.
podcast.
Yeah.
I have a question. I'm reading a patch note here. I don't think this is new, but the delve called the Dark Way. Is that the
mirror one?
like boss one? What's it called? The
No.
Nemesis one?
No. There's two delves that
No.
aren't out yet.
Oh,
In
okay, because
addition
that's what I was
to-
wondering. Because that one is being delayed, and I thought that they're delaying the Nemesis one, but the Nemesis one comes out the same day that this pod comes out, right? Tomorrow.
I don't know that they've actually announced a date, but everybody's just assuming it's today.
Yeah.
So you'll know probably by about this time.
While we were praising their communication about class tuning, they actually haven't said anything about M0's going to champion track either. They did say it was going to be on daily lockout, but the track that it's going to drop gear on is, I think, speculative, right?
If I had to guess, it's probably Champion 2 or Champion 246.
That's what
If I had to guess.
That's what I'd guess as well. But like they didn't say anything, so who really knows? The same
Correct.
thing. The
They
same
did
thing
not-
with
they
the
did not say
Delve
anything.
guy, where it's like, well, in theory it should, but we don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
They
right.
kind of did that something this season where people didn't really know what was coming out and when. So
Yeah. All right, Growl, what's your cool stuff that you got for us this week?
Oh yeah, I have a really good tip, by the way. So you guys should buy. Everyone needs to buy lots and lots of petrified roots because they're used for crafting and Harandar celebrations. Those are the feasts. And the reason is definitely not because I bought like 10 million gold worth of them and I'm trying to sell them overpriced on next week when they come out with the raid. So everybody buy those and buy them at a really high price. Not
you seen they've
financial
already gone up
advice
a lot?
though.
have you seen them running up a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to brag about my stonks playing. You know, I trade some Bitcoin in my day. You know, so I got an average entry on the roots of about 1,500, 1,550. I thought I got a good price on them.
Yeah, that's really good because they're already up to 4K this morning. I haven't looked now, but
4K? No, they're like 2,400 or something. But that
they're
means there's
4K this morning.
Oh, I mean, you love to hear that. Maybe I gotta list some.
There were only 5K on the auction house. Like there is so little for how much roots take up in terms of like consumables and everything you need for crafting. Like
yeah, so I was doing some looking at profession stuff early, like at the beginning of the week, basically. And I was like trying to figure out what our guild is in need for cauldrons and feasts and all this stuff. And this stupid petrified root thing is in literally every single recipe.
Correct.
And I'm just like, what the hell is this? And so I'm just like, well, if there's anything that's going to buy, like, you know, if there's anything that's going to go up in value, it's going to be this because it's in literally
Correct.
everything. But I'm completely joking to be non-serious. Like, I bought them a week ago. And at this point, like, who knows what the fuck's going to happen? But they've already gone up a lot. So don't buy them.
So here's the weird thing about them is I was talking with Zorthus, you know, known tomato, great guy, great YouTube videos. He's done a lot of
Yep.
Mythic Plus and beta, and at the end of Mythic Plus dungeons, you get a bag of petrified roots or something like that. He was telling me the other day.
Everybody does?
So I don't know. He didn't tell me. I assume one person does. Generous bundle of petrified roots. So assuming the problem is right now it gives you nothing like on beta when you open it, which seems wrong. So the theory is Mythic Plus is also going to give petrified roots.
But is it just going to be like the 5 that you get from M0 or is it
No
Yeah.
idea. On beta right now it's nothing. So there's a big gamble
Ooh.
here because if it drops to Mythic Plus, that's probably going to dip back down to 1,500. If it doesn't drop to Mythic
next
Plus-
week is there's no Mythic Plus though next week.
Okay,
so
yeah, it's
I'm still
M0, yeah,
chilling.
Yeah, so
No,
we'll see.
no, don't actually buy those for anybody that's listening. Like, do your own research. This is me joking around. This is me saying I degenerately spent way too much gold investing in some stupid flower for no reason, and I'm just sitting here trying to get the price to go up.
I mean, for what it's worth, I think I bought like 300, maybe like 500 as well. So
Yeah, I have a couple thousand.
Oh my god.
okay,
A couple
you weren't
thousand
kidding about the 10
fees,
million.
too. Yeah.
How is $ groin going recently? Growl coin.
You know, it's the future of currency.
Okay. All right. Q&A? Or we got anything else?
Dude, we got
I
a
will.
bank
I'll,
full of
I'll,
Q&A
I'll give a tip.
questions already.
We got one
I'll
more.
give a quick tip for your gearing experience. Never ever upgrade an item from 1 of 6 to 2 of 6 with Crest. Instead, you should upgrade the previous track from 5 to 6. What are you doing, Tettles?
My cat's biting my headphones.
Hey, okay,
You look like you were biting your cat. Are you
No,
kidding?
no. No, he was biting the headphones.
Likely story. For people listening on audio, that's not what was happening.
That is definitely
Use
what
your
was happening.
imagination.
You could backtrack. It is literally tackling.
No, they can't. They're listening on audio.
Okay, well.
Okay, but yeah, so don't like if you're going for champion, if a champion 1 item, don't upgrade it from champion 1 to 2 if it takes Crest. Instead, get your veteran item from veteran 5 to veteran 6 instead, because it takes the previous tracks and then you get the free Crest upgrade.
What do you think about hero track versus myth? Like, you think that rule also holds true for myth crests?
Yeah, because gilded is the. Why would you not?
What are we going to be more starved on? Are you going to be more starved on hero? Or are we going to be more starved on gilded? Like especially early on, right?
I mean, it depends a little bit on the RNG of like how many myth track pieces you get and stuff. Like, you may put yourself in a situation where you need more gilded crests, but ultimately, anything that you upgrade from 1 to 2 is going to be a waste of crests in the long run, right?
Okay.
Because you could always have used a lower crest for it. So
Even
that's just what.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even if you get a bunch of myth track pieces, right? Like, you are going to run out of uses for hero crest before myth. So you should always use your hero crest. Always use the lower tier crest, because you're gonna run out of uses for it quicker.
Yeah. Also, for crafting, what's the move now? Like, you remember that you can craft embellishments on items that you make with veteran crests, and those don't require a spark. So even though the move is to craft a weapon with embellishment, very likely for your first big craft, you can still also craft a veteran piece with an embellishment on it, and potentially 2 if that's your best setup. So otherwise, you can basically send all your adventurer crests now. You can send all your veteran crests too, but you may want to save what is it, like 120, enough to make 2 pieces, and then or is it 160 now? But either way, you can start spending those 2 styles of crests in this coming week to prepare for heroic raid.
Okay. And then Nightmare Prey gives champion gear this week.
Are we able to get gilded crests off of the final boss of Voidspire?
Survey says yes, but who knows?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Isn't there also, don't forget that stupid what that quest where you do a level 11 delve? Doesn't that give you gilded crests too? Is that going to be available next week?
It should.
Okay.
And there should also be that player housing quest where you get to choose between augment runes and crests.
Oh yeah, the big old
theoretically.
The player power housing quest.
Yeah, where you can go party in somebody's house or whatever else they decide to do.
Yeah.
I know you guys talked about that when I wasn't here.
Yeah, people were very mad about that. That felt like that was a whole lot of nothing. All right. We've already covered 2 of the questions that we had for Q&A. Last question comes from One Nero. He says, "Hello, Benchwarmers. In my guild, we're hosting a prediction game for the race roll first. So my question for you is, what do you think the raid comp for killing the last boss of either the Voidspire or March of Keldanos will be? Much love." All right.
I'll start. You guys change. I'll start.
Okay.
You guys change. Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna start firing off. Okay. Brewmaster Monk and Prot Warrior for tanks. 2 Demo locks.
Is Demo still the best?
2 Marks Hunters. Okay, let's do an Arcane Mage, but you may play different specs. It just depends.
I think it's just Mage is fine.
Yeah, Mage. Let's go Prez Evoker. Let's start figuring out our healers. Prez Evoker. Let's go H-Pal. Let's go Holy Priest. Let's put a Druid DPS of some sort. I feel like you may have to switch, right?
That's fair.
Depending on the boss.
I feel like on the last boss where single target really matters, you probably want to play Feral, but otherwise you play the Boomy for all the ad fights. Let's put a Dev. Dev is gonna be really good, I think. Now, what do you guys think from here? Maybe I'll let one of you take over. And you can change my picks, obviously, too, if you think they're wrong.
I mean, Havoc, Devourer, Flex, right? Like, I think...
Ooh.
I don't know. I like anything with double specs, I think you could interchange pretty clearly. I think it might be double Prez, to be honest.
I was thinking that, too, in terms of healers. I couldn't figure out what I wanted for my fourth healer. I think you could do Resto Druid. I think you could do even Arsham, maybe, if you don't want to bring another Shaman. I think Arsham is kind of sleeper OP. It's been creeping up again. But...
Just they would quit.
You need Rogue, so probably Sub-Rogue, I think.
Some
Shaman
Rogue.
is Ellie, I think. Ellie looks really, really good. I think that the spec is actually quite strong.
That's fine.
Is that all of our raid buffs?
We're
missing one?
no, we have Warrior.
Yeah, we're missing DK. Grip is a raid buff, I think, right?
I mean, on Orb Fight probably, but like,
yeah.
I don't know how good DK is looking after the nerfs. I have not been paying attention to that.
Unholy Sim's quite high still, but they're not the highest simming specialization anymore in the game. And then there's this problem where they don't actually bring anything to the raid, right? Or AMZ, I guess. They can't die. Is Queen's
I feel like
Fall...
Unholy is still better, like one of the best melees, right? Like which melees right now are doing better than Unholy besides like Feral on pure single?
Probably, I don't know. I mean, according to looking at Sims are unreliable is the problem.
Right? Like I guess when I'm thinking of melee, I'm thinking like DK and DH, DH are both good. Honestly, Rep Paladin's like kind of good, but I just expect them never to be good because it's Rep Paladin. Also, Holy Paladin seems pretty good. It's doing like massive damn. I'm pretty sure people haven't figured that out yet, but it's gonna be
Fury
OP.
good? I don't know where Fury's at right now.
It's okay.
Not. Yeah.
I think okay is the best way of describing Fury Warrior.
I feel like this is where you get into stacking territory, and I just don't know where things are after the changes. Like,
I actually low key think like I don't think that Moonkin could get stacked, but I do think that Moonkin's better than Feral on most of the bosses. Now, if
we're talking end boss, Lura, right? Like we're talking Lura. I'm pretty sure Lura is single target.
Yeah, but she is single target, so it's less valuable there.
So that's like double Feral. Can we see double Feral? Like, is that a thing?
Are we in double Ellie Shaman territory too?
Isn't Dev really good?
Both of these are actually quite high from the ranged camp in terms of single target damage. Yeah,
I could see 2 evokers of varying types.
I feel like we're missing.
Sure really got touched,
are we not missing any raid buffs here? I feel like we are, but maybe
what are we
we're
missing?
crazy. It just I feel like there's so much stacking going on, but maybe
I'm
just wrong.
We have this. We have this. We have this.
So what if Windwalker?
I
don't know where that's at.
Like I just think above Windwalker or Fury, or like you just bring a second DK, or you bring a second DH, or you bring a Red Paladin over that. At least with the way things are right now.
Is Devourer still good? I don't know where Devourer's at now. I know people are talking about like Havoc might be better.
So Devourer is good. I don't know how playable it is in Raid in general. I mean, the fact that you have to get a full cast of Collapsing Star and Void Ray off, and these are like 3-second long casts. Like, God forbid the boss spawns a swirly on you. Like,
Devourer is the same thing as Frost Mage, where it's not to say it's a sim trap, but it's just really hard to realize the sim damage on a raid fight because of how much movement there is. And Devourer is even worse than Frost Mage of like your damage spirals as soon as you have to like deal with mechanics.
Yeah, as somebody that played Devourer at M0s, you realize how many mobs have knockbacks. Like, it's kind of insane.
Yes. What's the deal with marks? Why are we playing 2 of these?
Double Hunter for Hunter's Mark.
I think Mark's Hunter is doing good damage in general. There's also this weird interaction with whatever the stupid trick shot talent is that, or the trick shot replacement that I can't think of. But also Hunter's Mark is like, it doesn't stack, but like, let's say there are 2 targets, you get double benefit of Hunter's Mark, right? So if there are 2 things that need to die, which seems like there might be in some of these fights, like just having a second Hunter will be better than almost any other DPS.
I think the word on the street is that people are looking to play actually Destro in a lot of fights, but I don't know what the pure single target version of a Warlock would be, right? Like, is it Demo? It might be Destro.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard because like there's a lot of AoE fights, but I just think that on the end boss, the single target just matters a lot. But
Yeah.
you could be right.
I mean, something like that is probably accurate. Like, I can change any of the hybrids, like Devour to Havoc, or Dev to Og, or Pharaoh to Boomkin. Like, I assume all those is what's going to happen anyways, so...
I think this raid has some of the most like not like unsuredness among classes. Like I feel like there's so much. Oh, as a druid you might play both. Oh, as a dev you might want to play Og in some fights. Like oh, as a warlock you might want to play Destro. Oh, as a mage you might want to play any of the specs. Like I think there's more of that this raid than I've seen theory crafted than like any other raid before. Maybe just because there's so many goofy AoE fights.
Yeah. Have to really say.
But we don't know we don't even know what the last boss is. Like, it's entirely possible that the end bosses. I mean, there were the interviews, right, where it basically says Lura is more of a coordination check, something they couldn't do with computational add-ons. That is to be determined, of course. But if it is, they could probably tune the boss like Galley, and it still be relatively challenging.
One thing is for certain with our raid composition prediction, we are going to be massively fucking wrong.
Probably.
Yep. I just want to, like, the Racer World first guilds, I feel like with something that's evolved with raid over time is that Blizzard has done more aggressive tuning during beta and PTR cycles. But also raid testing starts earlier and then they do class tuning after the fact. So you just actually have zero read on any specialization like going into the raid unless you are a Racer World first guild who is doing dummy testing and trying to make the most out of like the normal weekend where that normal raid is open for the entire weekend and you're sitting in there just like trying to parse together like who's good and who's bad. And it's like I feel like raid compositions, that's one of the things that over time it's like it's so hard to have a read on like what's going to be OP. I remember Liberation of Undermine, absolutely nobody clocked that Windwalker was going to be OP, and Liquid and Echo stroll in there with 3 Windwalkers on every single fight, and it's like, wait, the spec is just broken.
Yeah. And I don't know whatever is going on with Windwalker. It just always sneaks up and
anybody? Literally, does anybody?
Growl does. He just keeps it a secret.
Yeah, I've been in touch with the Racer World First Guilds. Max has been asking me about, my theory crafting on the melee DPS, but I've signed a contract with Echo, so I can't share much.